Good afternoon and welcome to the State of the University Address, sponsored by your Academic Senate. I'd like to thank you all for being with us here this afternoon, and I'd especially like to thank our sign language interpreter, Ms. Lynn Poindexter. I'm Dan Holland from the Physics Department, and I am currently the chair of the Senate. And for those of you who are not involved in the Academic Senate, it is the primary governing body at Illinois State University, and it allows for participation in the shared governance process by anyone at the university, whether you're students, civil service, AP, faculty, associates, and oddly enough, even faculty and even odder administrators. I recently found out that we are one of only a handful of senates across the entire nation that have a significant student representation, which is a very good thing. Any member of the academic community may bring issues to the Senate by contacting either the Senate office, through an appropriate Senate subcommittee, or through an individual senator. And my annual plug, there are many opportunities available to serve on either the Senate or one of its many external committees. If you are interested in getting involved, every spring we will send out a solicitation asking for volunteers for the following year. I encourage each of you to participate in whatever way you can. You will have the opportunity to meet and work with colleagues from across the campus you otherwise would never come into contact with. You'll be a part of shared governance, the defining property of Illinois State University, and one that I feel makes ISU a wonderful place to be. And on top of that, I think you'll find it to be an enlightening and enjoyable experience. Okay. This is a great time to be part of ISU. Even though you're still in these uncertain economic times, our strong leadership, good planning, and hard work have allowed us to not just survive, but to thrive. I'll leave the details for President Bowman, but even a cursory reading of the university report reveals the depth and breadth of the opportunities available, and is a testament to the creativity and entrepreneurship of the campus community. As is the custom, President Bowman will speak for approximately 30 minutes, and then the floor will be open for questions. And following the address, please join us for a reception in the lobby. It is now my pleasure to introduce the 17th President of Illinois State University, Dr. Al Bowman.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan, and thank all of you for coming this afternoon. I'm glad this address was scheduled for this Thursday and not last Thursday. I just got my voice back. We had a football game against Eastern Illinois University, and like many of the fans in the stands, I offered words of encouragement to the officials. And as they exited the stadium, I wished them a fond farewell. And in the process, I was very hoarse at the end of the game. I don't know if those were the same officials that did the Green Bay game on Monday night. But if I say any more about it, I'm in violation of some sort of NCAA rule that says we cannot criticize officials if we are administrators or members of the athletic staff. I think that's right, Leanne. The first thing I'd like to do is to introduce a couple of guests who are with us today. Trustees Betty Kinzer, Rocky Donahue, Aaron Von Qualen, and Trustee Emeritus Bill Selaski. Thank you all for being here. We have several members of the General Assembly, Representative soon-to-be Senator Jason Barrickman, and a faculty member with Illinois State, Representative Keith Summer, and Representative Dan Brady. Thank you all for being here as well. Finally, I'd like to thank my wife, Linda, for being here as well. In some ways, it seems as if the month of July 2003 was an eternity ago. In many other ways, I feel like time has passed in the blink of an eye. July 2003 was the month and year that I was named interim president of Illinois State University, So the calendar tells me that this fall semester, I'm beginning my 10th year as your president. Thank you. I can't say that these were the best 10 years of my life because that would offend my wife, and I'm not about to make that mistake. Many of you were not here when I began my tenure as president, and in fact, when I began my career at Illinois State, some of you weren't even born. In fact, many of you weren't even born if you're a student in the audience. But I know that if you ask faculty and staff members who have been at Illinois State University 20 years or more, they will tell you that this is a dramatically changed institution. In just the last decade, our faculty, staff members, students, alumni, and external partners have pushed and pulled and nurtured this university to a level that the most seasoned among us might never have imagined. But we made a decision, a pledge actually, to break from the common pack of mid-level universities, to rise above the expected, and to chart a self-determined new course toward excellence. Together, we created a plan called Educating Illinois. It wasn't easy, there were doubters, but we trusted our plan, we followed it, and in the last decade, we have made remarkable progress. If you've ever heard me speak to an audience, you know that I take great pleasure in talking about our shared accomplishments. Over the last decade, we've seen historic highs in both graduation rates and retention rates. The grade point averages and ACT averages of our incoming students also hit all-time highs. We broke the top 100 in the U.S. News and World Report rankings for public universities for the second consecutive year. We had a 7-year run as one of the top 100 schools nationwide for quality and value. We now have several academic programs in the nation's top 20, including accounting, professional sales, and actuarial sciences. We also have nationally ranked programs in education, nursing, and economics. Our campus is a national model for civic engagement of our students. We are considered a military-friendly campus and solidified that commitment 2 weeks ago with the opening of a new military study center. We are even a tree campus USA. That feels good to a guy who grew up in Colorado. And we've earned national and state awards for our sustainability efforts. We have also elevated our academic enterprise. We have enhanced our physical spaces. We have constructed new classroom and laboratory buildings. We've renovated most of our existing facilities. Please note that I said most. We still have promises to keep to our colleagues in fine arts and Milner Library, as well as a few other areas. But we opened a state-of-the-art student fitness center. We've completely remodeled our residence halls and dining centers. And just 6 weeks ago, as you all know, we welcomed 900 new occupants to our first ever private-public student apartment complex. During the past decade, we've set new standards for private fundraising, gifts that fuel scholarships, drive faculty and staff development opportunities, boost athletics programs, and improve facilities and technologies. In just the last 8 years, more than $121 million in private gifts have been generated for the university. That's impressive. Research at Illinois State University is now more prominent and respected than at any time in our history, and we are setting a new standard for quality and quantity. University-sponsored projects awarded in FY12 totaled $25.5 million. This represents an 18% increase over FY11 and a 28% increase in the number of awards received. In fact, over the last 10 years, Illinois State has generated almost $250 million in grants, and more than 100 of our faculty members have reached the $1 million level in grants received. Thank you. In a nutshell, this is a very different campus than it was 10 years ago. Each of you can and should be proud of your achievements. But as the 2012 academic year unfolds, a new criterion for success has surpassed all others at universities throughout Illinois and across the nation. That characteristic is financial sustainability. Clearly, the troubling economy and its impact on Illinois State and every other public institution and agency in the country is not news. We have all had to do more with less. State support in Illinois has evaporated to under 19% of our operating expenses, and costs that used to be the responsibility of the state have now been placed on our shoulders. But the phrase financial sustainability carries a meaning that reaches far beyond ills that are cured through mere belt tightening. For some institutions, the words strike at the very heart of economic survival. In its August 25th edition, the Chronicle of Higher Education reported on an analysis of nearly 1,700 public and private nonprofit colleges, finding that 1/3 of the institutions have been on what they termed an unsustainable financial path in recent years, and an additional 28% are at risk of slipping into an unsustainable condition. While the analysis is drawing a certain amount of criticism and even some skepticism, it's also drawing attention, particularly from the colleges that are considered at risk. There are public and private Illinois universities on the list. I'm happy to tell you that Illinois State University is not among them. The analysis concludes that Illinois State is a financially sound institution. Not the highest praise I've ever heard, but given the context of the article and the choppy waters we've been navigating, it's a compliment. Even more tangible, positive financial news for Illinois State comes from Moody's Investors Service, which earlier confirmed Illinois State's A2 bond rating with a stable outlook. Not all public universities in Illinois enjoy that rating, but Moody's says the mark reflects Illinois State's established student demand with steady enrollment, favorable operating performance, and debt service coverage. Illinois State has benefited through adherence to our strategic plan and our commitment to conservative spending. We have advanced because of our popularity among high-achieving students. We have capitalized on our low debt level. Illinois State has not resorted to layoffs and furlough days. We have not shuttered residence halls due to lack of students. We have not strangled faculty and staff development or disconnected from current technology. Illinois State, to use that most poetic phrase, is financially sustainable. Still, the economic threats on our near horizon are very real. The FY 2013 state appropriation for Illinois State University totals $74.1 million, and that's $4.8 million, or 6% less than we received last fiscal year. This year's appropriation is equivalent to the state funding we received in 1997. Meanwhile, the governor and legislative leaders continue to grapple with Illinois' pension crisis. Last month, the governor warned that if comprehensive pension reform is not enacted, funding for state universities, community colleges, and college scholarships for needy students with merit could be reduced by more than $280 million over the next 5 fiscal years. Under one model, employer pension contributions would be shifted away from the state and onto public universities. Illinois State's appropriation would be reduced under that model to $63.6 million by FY 2018, and that would equal the same state funding we received way back in 1989. Whether the numbers coming out of Springfield are scare tactics or a grim forecast, it's clear to me that the deprioritization of public higher education in Illinois will unfortunately continue. What cannot continue in Illinois are steep tuition increases to offset the lack of state support. New students to Illinois State this fall paid just 4.4% more in tuition than did new students in the fall of 2011. When you add in room and board, the 2012 student tab was only $760 more than the total package in 2011. Meanwhile, Illinois State stepped up its assistance to students and their families as they make the critical investment in higher education. This year, the ISU Access Grant Program will supplement the state's monetary awards program with $9 million in university funds. Merit-based scholarship dollars have also increased to $2.6 million for FY 2013, and that's up over 100% from 5 years ago. There are more than 600 scholarships funded by gifts to the Illinois State University Foundation, in part through your generosity. Right now, Illinois State students graduate with an average debt of about $22,000, well below state and national averages, and far from the horror stories that you see in the media. We must continue to honor their investment with the very best in teaching and service. In the end, our ability to provide a premier experience to our students has made us popular, and it will keep us sustainable. Illinois State is and has been in an enviable position relative to other public universities in Illinois and nationally for the last 10 years. We've managed to thrive during this period in spite of the continued weak economy. Due to the commitment and efforts of the entire university community, our reputation for quality has risen, while that of many of our peers and competitors has stagnated or fallen. For our hard work, we can all be proud. However, as I've noted today and elsewhere, we must face the fact that the fiscal environment for public higher education in Illinois and nationally is not likely to improve in the near future, and certainly will never return to the past levels of support on either the operating or the capital side of our budget. The financial and budgetary issues facing our state are too significant, and it seems probable that at least in one of these areas, pension reform, public universities will be required to share in the pain in implementing a solution. Add to that a declining number of high school graduates, changing demographics, and increasing competition from both traditional and non-traditional higher education providers from within and outside of Illinois, and it becomes clear that our future world will be dramatically different than that of our past. Today, I'm directing Provost Everts and Vice President Lizelle to work together this academic year in consultation with Vice Presidents Monet and Dietz and with input from the campus community to develop a new long-range financial plan that ensures the continued quality, strength, and viability of the university in these uncertain and turbulent times. I will make no preconceptions about what this plan will look like, but I do know what it must accomplish. It will maintain the high quality of our academic enterprise, be consistent with our mission, vision, goals as articulated in Educating Illinois, maintain the affordability of an Illinois State University education, address both our operating and capital needs, diversify our revenue base, strengthen our enrollment competitiveness, and maximize the efficiency and productivity of our administrative and academic support functions. A thoughtful, creative plan that builds on our strengths and responds to the changing landscape will allow us to continue to thrive for many, many years. Our advantage today is that we're planning from a position of strength and stability rather than weakness, which is why I believe it's critically important for us to be proactive rather than reactive in response to our changing environment. In the meantime, I will continue to do my best to invest in you. When I became interim president in 2003, I promised that competitive faculty and staff compensation would be among my top priorities. There has been just 1 year during the last 9 that I wasn't able to offer even a small salary increase. And although it will be modest, our faculty and staff members will be eligible for a merit-based salary increase again this year. I've asked our finance leadership team to increase the university's personal services budget by 2% for a merit raise program that will be effective at the end of the December pay periods and retroactive back to July 1st. The retroactive period will probably not be made up until the January pay period, but it will go back to July 1, the beginning of the fiscal year. Thank you. Thank you. Although the struggling economy has forced us to readjust our compensation goals, we have made up some ground against peer institution salaries. In several classifications, we meet or exceed comparison group compensation averages. Our investment in you has yielded excellent returns in the form of a highly talented and motivated students, top-notch faculty, and support staff members. For the 16th consecutive year, Illinois State University's total fall enrollment remains above 20,000. Last year's 20-year enrollment high left us a bit swollen, with some faculty and advisors scrambling to match students with just the right classes, and our housing staff reconfiguring residence halls to accommodate the added numbers. This year, we matched our comfort zone target right on the money at 20,500. As you no doubt have seen in news media reports, most Illinois public universities were not nearly as fortunate, with some reporting three-digit enrollment declines for several consecutive years. Illinois State not only met its target number, but academic quality remains high. The ACT average score remains near 24, with an average high school grade point average of 3.37. Diversity also increased with this new freshman class. Students from underrepresented groups comprised 21.6%, up from 18.9% last year. Over the last 5 years, our enrollment has averaged more than 20,700. Our ACT average is exactly 24, and our retention rate average is 84.1. There's only one. That all sounds impressive, but I want to take just a moment to share with you some results of a college completion analysis from the Chronicle of Higher Education using their most recent data. Illinois State's graduation rate of 71% put the university ahead of every public college campus in Illinois except one, meaning our graduation rate also surpassed 2 of U of I's campuses. We are 9.5% ahead of our closest Illinois directional school competitor. That's amazing. In addition, just 9% of all four-year public colleges in the country met or exceeded our graduation rate. From 2002 until 2010, Illinois State's graduation rate rose a remarkable 13.7%. In 1995, our graduation rate was just over 55%. Here we stand today at 71%. For that achievement, our enrollment and admission staff, faculty, support staff members, and students deserve a hearty round of applause. Congratulations. Our students' remarkable academic talent is equaled by their sense of civic responsibility to the university community, Greater McLean County, our home state, the United States, and even around the world. Illinois State remains among the few public universities in the country and the first in Illinois to offer a civic engagement and responsibility minor. We were among the first colleges nationwide to participate in the American Democracy Project and its spin-off, the Political Engagement Project, and we have been honored nationally for our efforts. This year, Illinois State has been selected as just one of 25 institutions in the country as a lead institution in the Civic Learning and Democratic Engagement Project. Illinois State will serve as a national model for universities that, in all humility, want to be more like us, and establish and expand civic engagement offerings on their campuses. Meanwhile, Illinois State begins the second year of its ISU Leads program. This is a comprehensive leadership-based initiative that allows students to qualify for a certificate in leadership to complement their academic degrees. Through programs like alternative breaks and Bring It Back to Normal, students last year contributed more than 11,000 hours of service to the community, state, nation, and beyond. Our student athletes perform on the field and off, contributing thousands of hours of community service through programs determined by the teams of every Redbird sport. During this fall semester, students in the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders will complete a community-based service learning project to further their knowledge of emergent literacy development while simultaneously providing needed services for low-income families with preschool-age children. Just 3 weeks ago, ISU IWU Habitat for Humanity chapter broke ground for its 19th home. This afternoon, we're joined by students and their faculty and staff mentors from Alternative Breaks, Bring It Back to Normal, Redbird Athletics, and Habitat for Humanity. Would all of you please stand so that we can recognize you? Thank you. The relationship between our students, staff, and faculty has impacts far beyond the boundaries of our campus. But it's a partnership that begins in the classroom with a curious student and a committed teacher. I talk to alumni from Chicago to Beijing, and the stories I hear share a consistent theme. Our students may be the faces and voices of Illinois State, but our faculty and staff members are this university's heart and soul. Behind almost every alumni success story, there's a grateful student, and that gratitude is the product of the highest quality teaching and most caring support. Recent examples include Daniel Breyer and Gina Hunter, who just last month were named the first recipients of the newly established Kenneth A. and Mary Ann Shaw Teaching Fellowship at Illinois State. Dr. Breyer, an assistant professor of philosophy, plans to use the award to start a religious studies faculty forum and organize a religious studies conference. Dr. Hunter, an associate professor of sociology and anthropology, will work with faculty, students, and alumni on the Old Main Project, analyzing and collecting the history of Illinois State's first building, which stood for a century before being razed in 1958. Com 110 instructor Christine Bruckner incorporated political and civic engagement into her classroom in several ways. Her students completed a service project which assisted a family in Normal who lost their home to a fire. Her students created a campaign to teach their fellow students about the importance of renter's insurance and also raise funds to help the family. Erica Hunt, who is with the University's Center for the Study of Education Policy, announced the College of Education is a partner in a $15 million national grant-funded program for early childhood education. The center will provide guidance to 6 school districts in 3 states which work with children to give them a fluid transition from early childhood education to the regular classroom. David Loomis, our director for the Center for Renewable Energy, drew national attention this summer with a study showing that Illinois' 23 largest wind farms have generated more than 19,000 jobs and will add $5.8 billion to local economies over the lifetime of their projects. Also this summer, our newest distinguished professor, Jim Skibo, led a team of students who were the first to unearth a new archaeological site in Michigan, offering new insights into more than 4,000 years of human history. I also want to recognize the work of the General Education Task Force. Initiated by Provost Everts in 2010, the task force met over the last 18 months to assess current general education program, review the program's broad goals, specific learning outcomes, and structure. The task force led 4 campus-wide forums to solicit additional feedback and submitted its recommendation to the provost this past May. Implementation planning for those recommendations will begin this fall through our shared governance process for curriculum, beginning with the Council for General Education and the University Curriculum Committee ending with a discussion at the Academic Senate. I'd like to acknowledge the task force co-chairs, Claire LaMonica and James Palmer. Thank you very much for your leadership of this important review. Innovation in teaching, research, and campus operations are the hallmarks of Illinois State University. You see it in every academic college, department, and school. You can see the pedagogical innovation being nurtured and enhanced in the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Technology. You can witness innovations and research every day in the Science Laboratory building on the east side of campus to the Special Education Assistive Technology Center on the west. This fall, Illinois State embarks on a technological innovation with its Leap Forward project, and we ask for your help in shaping the way the university interacts with students through this technology. Leap Forward, by the way, stands for Lean Enterprise Architecture and Processes. It's a 5-year initiative to replace our aging academic IT infrastructure used for such things as admissions, financial aid, grade reporting, student billing and records, as well as a host of other applications. The Leap Forward team is seeking input from students, faculty, staff members, and others who regularly interact with student-related information systems on campus. I hope you'll play an active part in this innovative process by participating in focus groups this semester. The input from those sessions will help drive the design of this system. Innovation in campus management and construction is evident across campus with the new Cardinal Court apartment complex. It opened to 900 students last month. This building was designed and built and is being operated without putting any additional financial stress on the university, its students, or Illinois taxpayers. The complex offers the amenities that I'm sure most of us never dreamed about during our college days, including air conditioning. But importantly, it adds protections and a nurturing environment found at our traditional residence halls. Construction innovation is in progress right now at Hancock Stadium. Last year, I used this forum to announce a $20 to $25 million renovation of our university's most visual front door. That project is underway, financed through existing student fees, gifts from alumni, corporate stakeholders, and friends. Shortly after announcing the initiative last September, I commissioned a study to measure Hancock Stadium's economic impact on the surrounding community. Study was performed by Illinois State economics professor Sherilyn Bilger and Frank Beck, the director of the Stevenson Center for Community and Economic Development, and the results were impressive. Hancock Stadium has a $4.1 million annual impact on the local economy, making it a significant economic engine in the Bloomington-Normal community. In 1 year alone, Hancock Stadium played host to more than 60 university and community events, all the way from Illinois Special Olympics to inter-city football contests to city recreational leagues. In addition to the thousands of event participants, the activities brought tens of thousands of spectators. As I said last year, we all need Hancock Stadium to reflect the excellence and growing reputation of Illinois State. The university deserves it, the community deserves it, and Redbird Athletics deserves it. Despite ongoing construction at Hancock, tailgating continues outside the stadium, and exciting Redbird football continues inside. The Birds are 4-0. I think the last president to say that was Bob Bowman. It's been a while. We've been in a long rebuilding period in Redbird football. But the Redbird athletics all across the board has given us a lot to cheer about. We've had exciting runs in men's and women's basketball. That was topped with the Missouri Valley Program honors in the Learfield Directors Cup. Redbird Athletics won 4 conference championships, and 5 coaches earned Coach of the Year honors. How about that? You may have never seen a javelin competition in your life, But one of our students, Tim Glover, is the best in the country at throwing one, and this year he won his second consecutive national championship. If you haven't seen him in competition, I at least want you to meet him in person. Tim, would you stand and take a bow? Thank you, Tim, and congratulations. I also want you to know that with a little help from their coaching and staff mentors, Redbird athletes lit up the classroom as well as the field of play. Our student athletes posted a cumulative grade point average of 3.15, and 70 student athletes had a perfect 4.0. Just as I hope you'll support Redbird Athletics, I hope you'll also take part in a full spectrum of academic, cultural, and social opportunities Illinois State is offering this year. The Fall Speaker Series continues this evening. It's a series that offers 11 opportunities this semester to hear from and meet in person some of the most innovative people in the country. In our own College of Fine Arts, the University Galleries continues its celebration of the Studio Glass movement. School of Theater and Dance is offering several performances, and the School of Music is scheduling concerts and recitals, and I know they will welcome your attendance this fall. And of course, a full slate of Homecoming 2012 activities begins next week. I have had a few people ask me if I really ever said, "Get your groove on," and the answer is no. I have never said, "Get your groove on." Not that I was ever confused with a hipster, but that was not something I said in the 60s. During my 9 years as president, I've watched as Illinois State Homecoming celebration has really transformed from a nice weekend to a must-attend celebration, bringing the extended university family to campus to rekindle old memories and create new ones. I want to conclude my remarks today by reminding everyone that we are in the home stretch of the revision process for our most important strategic planning document, Educating Illinois. Over the past 2 weeks, the Educating Illinois Task Force has sponsored 2 well-attended public forums. Draft print versions of Educating Illinois have been distributed throughout the campus, and you can also review and comment on the draft on the Educating Illinois website. Educating Illinois is not only Illinois State's shared vision for the university, its creation represents one of the truest examples of shared governance on this or any college campus. Finally, I close this address in gratitude for everything you do to make my service to Illinois State such a fulfilling experience. Linda and I have literally immersed ourselves in this job, and we derive a great deal of personal satisfaction from the university's many successes. I'm grateful to our governing board, the Board of Trustees, the Academic Senate, our employee councils and student leaders. Your advice and wise counsel is always welcome and deeply appreciated. 10 years ago, few could have predicted that this university would be where it is today. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and thank you for your continued support and friendship. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. As I said earlier, President Bowman will be glad to take a few questions from the audience. If you are interested in asking a question, there are microphones located midway down either aisle. And while people are heading to them, I have a few that have been emailed in. The first one is, President Bowman, what is your take on the pension mess in Illinois?
My. I have a personal interest in solution to this mess. Well, I guess characterizing it a mess is an accurate descriptor, I'm afraid. It is very frustrating that we've gotten into this situation. It unfortunately is going to create pain across the board to fix it. In my conversations with people in Springfield about it, I've been very clear that whatever reforms are put in place have to allow universities to continue to recruit and retain talented faculty and staff members. We compete for talent in a national marketplace, and we have to have a pension system that's competitive. Secondly, whatever is done, the system has to be sustainable. And finally, whatever reforms are put in place, they have to respect the constitutional guarantees that protect previously accrued benefits. It looks as though something will be done in January. We're certainly all watching it closely, but this is critically important for employees and really for the future of the university. If we end up with a system that's not competitive, we will see faculty and staff migrate to other states and certainly to private institutions, and some of that's already beginning, unfortunately.
All right, since we have some other ones for you, and again, I invite some questions from the audience. Dr. Bowman, I'm wondering why the School of Theater and Dance did not receive the funding to build a new building, but the football stadium did.
Sure. It's a fair question. It's unfortunately a color of money dilemma. The dollars that build academic facilities are from a different revenue stream. They're funded by the state's capital program, and the Fine Arts Project has been appropriated, and it's been reappropriated, so it's in the queue. But because of the economic downturn, the dollars haven't been released. The football stadium, like the student fitness building, are funded from student fees. And so when we finished paying off the bonds on Redbird Arena, we redirected those dollars to the football stadium project, and that allowed that project to go forward without raising student fees. In my position, one of the most uncomfortable things to talk about is when you meet someone in the grocery store and they say, you were on the radio complaining about the state cutbacks, but you're building a new residence hall, you have a new fitness center, this brand new building opened in '02, what's going on here? And you can't explain in 30 seconds the color of money and how different kinds of dollars fund different parts of the university, but that is, in fact, the answer. We have had very recent good conversations with the governor's office about the Fine Arts Project, and the conversations have been extremely positive, and I believe we're going to hear an announcement in the near future. The part of the delay is that the revenue stream to pay for capital bonds depends in part on video gaming, and as that system gets up to speed, those dollars will start to flow and the state will begin to release more projects. So it's just a matter of time.
President Bowman. I'm an alumni of ISU, and I understand that next year marks the 150th anniversary of the Alumni Association. And I was just curious if you would be doing anything special like you did for the university's 150th.
Yeah, absolutely. That celebration for the Alumni Association will kick off in conjunction with Founders Day, and the plan is to begin a year-long series of events that will recognize the Alumni Association and its impact on the institution, but that will all start on Founders Day. And best part of my job is that every day is a celebration for something, which means there's food everywhere I go. If you're a hungry student and you haven't had a good meal in a while, just wait outside Hovey and follow me wherever I go. There's always good food there. And you can follow me to the grocery store and ask me about university finances, too.
Okay. I've got one more for you here. While we're on the subject of facilities, when might we see some action regarding the student accounts building? And another facilities is, what is going to happen to Atkin Colby and Hamilton Whitten?
Okay. The student accounts building is on that list of facilities that once we have a place to relocate that operation, that will be demolished. The building is in disrepair, so the plan is to get that done as soon as we can. The residence halls that have been decommissioned, in the near term, we plan to use those buildings for just storage and surge space. When we get the funds to redo the fine arts complex, we'll need to displace faculty and all of the studios to another facility. And it's actually nice to have some space available that we could put people in temporarily. So we will use it for surge space and then eventually take those buildings down. We'll have to reserve some funds to do the demolition. It will be several $1 million to take those buildings down. But the space that'll be created once they're gone is prime space, and it would be a perfect location for an academic building. So we feel good about what's happening along Main Street. The football stadium, of course, that enhancement will create a much better front door for prospective students as they drive onto the campus. It'll create a good, favorable first impression. We've acquired the Weavers rental property. The old gas station that was north of Weavers has been taken down. It's a temporary parking lot. Eventually, the outdoor program building will come down, and so with the changes that we contemplate with the old residence halls, campus will, I think, along with the commercial development along Main Street, really take a step forward. We feel good about it.
All right. Thank you very much. And I'd like to remind everybody that there is a reception immediately following right outside the doors there in the lobby. So thank you once again, Dr. Bowman.